47 days until November 5th, Election Day, and new polling out today points to an overarching theme. The race for the White House will likely be one of the tightest contests in modern American history, with Harris and Trump deadlocked across several battleground states. In Pennsylvania, the state that could determine the election, a new CNN poll of polls shows the two candidates in a dead heat race with no clear leader. Let's turn now to CNN senior data reporter Harry Enten for a deeper dive on all of this. Harry, obviously the race on a razor's edge, and this new polling out of Pennsylvania, this new analysis, there's a lot to decipher there.
Oh, there's so much to decipher, Boris. I mean, I woke up at 4:30 this morning looking at all the polling data. I got no sleep. I was deep down on the spreadsheets. And here's the reason why. Look at this. We have gotten a bevy, a slew, a buffet of polling, whatever way you want to put it. Harris in Trump in Pennsylvania. This is the margin. Quinnipiac, you got 5 for Harris. How about the New York Times? You got 4 for Harris. Franklin and Marshall, 3. You notice we're coming down the line. Trump's doing a little bit better. How about the Washington Post? Just a 1-point lead for Harris, well within the margin of error. And Marist College, a tie. So the bottom line is, looking at this data, you see perhaps a slight lead for Harris, but then you work your way all the way back to your right side of the screen, and you get a tie. As you put it, my dear friend, very tight in the Keystone State.
And how about this new fresh Michigan and Wisconsin polling that's come out over the last day?
Yeah, all right. So I gave you 5 polls here. That's a lot of numbers to digest. So let's kind of dive in. We're going to look at Michigan, we're going to look at Wisconsin, and we're going to look at Pennsylvania, and we're going to basically close it in on an average, right? Take it all together, package it up, nice bow on the top of it to make it easy. So this is the Great Lake battleground states. In Michigan, +2 for Harris. Pennsylvania, you mentioned at the top, +2 for Harris. How about Wisconsin? +2 for Harris on average. The bottom line is, Boris, in these battleground states, it is so tight, no clear leader. Now, what does this mean for the electoral map? Because I think that is so important. You look at this and you say, okay, these numbers, what do these exactly mean? Let's talk about the race to 270 electoral votes, all right? Now, what I'm going to do in this situation is I'm going to say that the polling averages are right on. Now, they could be off by a little bit, and Trump could benefit from that and win with those polling averages the way they are. But let's just say the polling averages are right on. So we'll give Kamala Harris Wisconsin. We'll give her Michigan, and of course we'll give her what I think is the most important state in this election, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If you give Kamala Harris all 3 of these states, even if she loses in Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, here's the key number. In the race to 270, she would get to exactly 270 electoral votes. But if you just took one of these states away, Boris, she would fall below that margin. So that is why you led this off by saying it is the closest race in a generation. It has been that way nationally. And when you look at these battleground states, there's no other way to describe it, my dear friend, than too close to call.
There is also the possibility, Harry, with these razor-thin margins, that if she somehow loses that congressional district in Nebraska, that the one in Omaha, that one electoral vote, we could be thrust into a tie, and then it's up to the House of Representatives. So a lot of things are possible there. What I want to ask you about, though, Harry, Taylor Swift, a lot of this polling has come out since she endorsed the vice president. Does this new polling find anything interesting in terms of her popularity with voters?
I think it does, because we always talk about Taylor Swift and the young vote. I think that might not necessarily be all that correct. At least depends on your definition of young. All right, this is Taylor Swift's net favorability rating. I want you to look at voters, likely voters under the age of 30. It's just +6 among Generation Z. It's actually our generation, Mr. Sanchez, which is where Taylor Swift is the most popular. Age 30 to 44, where her net favorability rating is +18. So if you're a big fan of Taylor Swift, chances are you're giving away your age in a way you might not want to. It turns out that the Taylor Swift fans are more likely to be a little bit older than I think is commonly assumed, and that might not be necessarily good news for me or for you or for our dear friend Brianna.
Harry, I think you've got to recalibrate your definition of young. Just a bit of advice. Harry,
no.
No?
Don't try and get rid of me that easily. We're not.
Adjust
I
the
think my
standard
definition of young is
deviation.
right.
Adjust the standard deviation, Harry. It's time. Thanks so much, buddy. Great to
All
see
right.
you.
Bye.
So today, Vice President Harris is zeroing in on the swing state of Michigan. As you saw from Harry, it is one of those 3 key blue wall states, and she's going to have some serious star power at a big event planned for tonight. Harris is going to hold a virtual rally with the help of Oprah Winfrey. They're going to be targeting a key coalition that could help her win not just Michigan, but other important battleground states. CNN's Eva McKen joins us now live with more details. So Eva, are we expecting a huge turnout for this Zoom call rally?
Well, the campaign always is measured when they set expectations. But yes, Boris, I think it is going to be quite significant. That Win with Black Women call, that initial call that happened after we had this shakeup in the Democratic ticket is quite instructive. More than 90,000 women tuned in from across the country. It raised more than $1.5 million within about 3 hours. And so Win with Black Women is one of the partners tonight in this event. And so I think that it is going to be huge. I tuned into that call several weeks ago, and what you heard from these Black women from all across the country was that they finally feel viewed as part of the process. That so long Democrats have been, Black women have been the backbone of the Democratic Party, but now they feel as though they are being represented at the highest levels. So I think you are going to have a lot of engagement tonight. The entire goal is to fire up all of these key coalitions that do the important work of registering voters, Boris, and knocking on doors.
Eva, I want to ask you about some Axios polling that came out recently from Alex Thompson, a CNN colleague we should note, and he tabulated the number of interviews that both Harris and her running mate, Governor Walz, had done, and it pales in comparison to the number done by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance since Harris became the nominee some 60 days ago or so. I'm wondering, when you're talking to sources, do they tell you that this is part of a strategy, this kind of avoidance of the press?
So everything I glean from my conversations with Harris allies is they just don't see any benefit to this. They see, it's a time game, Boris. You know this well, that there's nothing more valuable than a candidate's time. And in this truncated campaign, they want her out, sometimes in intimate spaces with voters, having that one-on-one connection. And they lose that time if they are prepping intensely for an intense policy-driven interview with a news organization, I think to the great frustration of us. And so this does not surprise me. I think that in addition to these big rallies, they certainly have the money for them. They also want to do these sort of micro events where they're connecting very strategically with voters in the 7 key battleground states. And that doesn't leave a whole lot of time for news interviews.
There is great incentive for coming on CNN News Central. I should point out we like to have a good time here, as Eva McKen well knows.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Eva. Appreciate it.